is up, everybody? Welcome to Stay Woke or Not. Today we have another episode of Music Monday, which we are very excited to introduce our co-host, Michael Padilla. Buenos días, cabrón.
Buenos días, cabroncita.
Cabroncita, cabroncita, ya tú sabes. Okay, chale. Okay, also, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yes. So today we have an amazing guest, country singer and superstar and actor, Wayne Garner.
Welcome, Wayne.
Welcome, Wayne. Welcome, Wayne. Welcome, Wayne.
Me and Wayne's work right now.
My audio sounds like it's like just terrible for some. I don't know.
Oh no, you sound okay. You sound okay. We can hear you clear.
Just play the role and work with it.
Yeah. So I can hear you good, Dahlia. But both the guys sound just it's like all fuzzy kind of. So if they ask me the questions, can you like just kind of filter it? Or,
yeah, of course.
I won't be able to hear it.
Can you hear me clearly now?
I can now.
Okay, yeah. I'll be in the mic close like when I'm asking questions and stuff. So.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
Sweet.
Okay. Now I'm kind of echoing. All right, we will somehow.
You got to use your other mic.
Okay.
So we're working out a technical difficulty. But anyway. So Wayne Garner. How are you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing good. How about you? I'm just chilling.
Doing pretty good. We just we're preparing for today's stream and whatnot, and we look forward to what you would say and whatnot. Didn't you have a question for Michael?
I did, and I think this is a great start. Dahlia, you're muted.
There's a little bit of a delay.
Oh gosh. Well, I hope this clears up. Anyways, okay, Wayne. So I think we should start off with the basic fundamental question. Why country music?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like. I guess you could say I listen to all sorts of music. So it kind of I rubbed off that way. As far as like the songwriting and the playing and stuff.
Was there anything that that influenced you to kind of like guided you towards that genre, or it literally just fell on your lap?
Pretty much just fell in my lap. I mean, it's just like the songwriting and all that. I guess it was just more like modern rock, but then it just kind of took a turn.
Yeah.
And
that happens.
There we go. So
Echo is on you.
Yep.
Wayne, I think the echo is on you.
Is it on me? Let's see. Let's see if I can fix anything.
Also, what's up, beautiful people? If you guys have any questions during the stream, be sure to pop it in the commentos, and we can pop it up on the screen. Okay. So before I get into my first question, I want people to know and hear. Are you ready? Can we play Voodoo Queen?
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to. I'm trying to. Sorry. I'm trying to get this mic set up. Maybe if I just put in headphones or something. Our biggest song so far is actually "Love Drunk Fool."
Okay, all right. If you want to Love Drunk Fool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Everybody here is going to be playing Love Drunk Fool.
Take a lot of chances with my feelings. I trade my animals to have you for one day. And yeah, your love is crying, and it starts to fade, and your thoughts always seem like a miles away. 'Cause I love you, sweet girl, but you don't care about the skies on the strings of my heart, and how it wears your restless soul, snuck in the past time, and I'm the love drunk for misery. It's just a friend of mine. I guess all the writing is on the wall. I'm falling in love, well, you ain't the guy. She could dance with all those lonely nights, and I'm broken down crazy from the fame. 'Cause I love you, sweet girl, but you don't care about the skies on the strings of my heart, and how it wears your restless soul, just look in the past time. And I'm a man of misery. It's just a friend of mine. Cause I love you, sweet girl, but you don't care about the skies on the strings of my heart, and how it wears your restless soul, just look in the past time. And I'm a love drunk for the misery. It's just a friend of mine. Just a love drunk fool. Just a love drunk fool. Just a love drunk fool.
Nice. I think you got all the parts there. I think you nailed it.
I tried. I'm more of a percussionist. Okay. I actually. Fuck, I'm echoing again. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna try this. I had a question for one of your particular songs. Either you can ask your particular song. You can answer it now. Or you can ask. What would you say a voodoo queen is? Would you say a voodoo queen is?
Yeah. When I wrote that song, like I was partying a lot. And a lot of those songs from that album came from when I was in college. Or right after also, and was just partying a ton. And that was written about a girl that I knew down in New Orleans. Yeah. So I mean that's pretty much it. But she was like, I mean, she was really wild. I mean, she was wild, crazy chick. So, I mean, honestly, that's what you know. A lot of the songs. I mean, the guys write come from chicks. So, and I don't want to sound so like just basic or anything. I've got an echo that's killing me. Right now. So I'm trying to just like think and spit out words.
You know what, too, Wayne? What you could do, because I don't hear the echo. What you could do, you do, Dahlia? Do you, Mick? Do you hear it? I can't hear you.
I said I'm doing the echo.
I honestly, guys, I'm not hearing it, and I'm on a computer, so I feel like it could just be an echo off of the system, and not so much like the live stream, because I'm on the live stream and I don't hear it.
My computer's almost done updating.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna hop on that.
And see. Okay. Well, if anything, you could even like take them off, answer the question, and then put them back on.
Yeah. That's true.
Maybe that'll help. I always do that.
Or maybe if I take one ear off. Let's see. All right. No. Still not good.
By the way, do people ever mistake you for Jason Momoa?
No. I'll get the you look like or hey, you look like the guy from Game of Thrones. But yeah, it's never like that bad. I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No, you guys could be twins.
Yeah, even if cousins.
No kidding. Yeah. Cousins definitely.
Oh my god.
I feel like we're all cousins though.
Yeah.
Are we going to wait for you to get U-turn?
No, wait. Well, I mean,
I hear the echo when I talk.
I don't hear anything. And I bet you if you told the audience if they hear an echo, they'd probably tell you no.
Okay, Sky, what about you? She's in here.
Oh, shit. She hears an echo. Damn, then I must be really on something.
Answer! Oh, shit.
She did.
Okay.
She says she hears an echo.
She hears it.
What? That's crazy.
Is it me? I'm gonna die.
It might be all of us. Except him. Up top.
Mick is always in the clear, bro.
Well, yeah.
And I am demon. That is the dynamic I have.
I'm always plugged in. I have my headphones and a mixer and everything. Just so I can hear.
Here, how about you guys talk and I'm gonna mute. Tell me if you hear an echo.
Lovely. Ladies.
Hello.
Cojones, estás tuyo totalmente. Ay, Dios
It's
mío.
you, Mike.
Contigo.
Mike.
Es tuyo,
Mike.
es
Oh,
es
it
del
is
cuarto.
you.
Entonces yo pienso es él y no es él. Oh my god.
You
That's a
know,
lot.
the funny thing is, I was thinking it was probably him because I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's him.
Michael, you little pain in my butt that I still love. Ah! Bloody hell. Okay, you know what? Let us continue.
That was the most hilarious
Continue.
difficulty we've had.
No, you know Taki. You know Taki nothing right now. You're in the doghouse, bro. You're in the fucking doghouse because you just all thought it was us the entire time. Cabrón, cuéntate. Entonces, I have preguntas. I'm sorry.
Oh.
She.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. The echo's gone.
Okay, you know why? I'm
Why?
sorry, you guys. Okay, it was because on my audio settings, I turned off echo cancellation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, guys, congratulations for the fuck up of today. You made it to Monday. You've actually made it to March. It is 2022, and we are now with Wayne Garner. Thank you so much for being on this absolute shit show of a show. And now we are going to continue with our dialogue that we have here. So I'm going to
Yeah,
go into
I'm gonna re-answer these questions real quick, so I don't look like so much of a meathead.
Oh
Um,
no, yeah, you're good.
so, anyways, like I'd written that second album, the one with Voodoo Queen and Love Drunk Fool, basically when I was coming out of college. So I had those songs already kind of ready, and I mean, like that was like pretty much like all I knew at that point. But was kind of like the party, post high school type phase. So that's how like a lot of those were written, just with like very minimal, real big time life experience. It's almost like you're still in the high school love phase with girls, and then partying and stuff like that. So this new album that's going to be coming out here. I think the pre-order actually starts this week, March 18th. That's kind of a big boy written album, and that's we're kind of diving off into going from 80s pop to like Bruce Springsteen, different dark deeper music and stuff. So
Okay.
things that actually have more meaning, rather than writing about the girl that everybody had a crush on that turned out to be a total fucking floozy. So that's what this is. So
No,
but
I get you. I mean, sometimes like certain writings that you do match where you are at a certain point in life, and that's like true for like every musician
for
and
sure,
every creative person. So
yeah. And sometimes it's funny because it's like the songs that mean the most to you that you write are actually songs that get pushed to the back that you're hoping everybody like wants to hear, and you want to play them every night, and they're like play Voodoo Queen or Love Drunk Fool, that's those are the best, and you're like, oh damn it, yeah, fuck, you're not getting it. But yeah, so that's just music and entertainment.
right. That kind of is a good segue into my next question for you, which is how would you describe the transition from country singer to SAG-AFTRA actor, bruh?
Yeah, I don't really that's it's just a weird thing that happened. I literally we were touring a lot and going back and forth out on West Coast tours, and I think it was the one right before COVID hit. Like I'd had like a couple people that were like, "You should really get into acting and blah 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 and all this stuff," but I was like, "Man, whatever, I don't really care." I mean, it's no big. It wasn't a big thing to me then. And my buddy James Landry Hebert, he had just came off of filming Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He had a pretty big role in that, and he went out on a few tour dates with us, and we got to talking, and he was like, I'm going to send you some casting information on some stuff. I think you'd do great. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And so I went to this casting call for Killers of the Flower Moon and like got pulled like right out the gate. And I was like, what? You guys want me to read? A what? What are you talking about, read? Of course I know how to read. But they're like, no, we want you to read for this fucking role. So you need to go in this room over here and study these lines. And we're gonna come around. We're gonna, see how you do. They were explaining everything to me, and so I'm in the room, and I'm like in there with like a couple of people like I've recognized here recently, especially on some newer shows. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, man, what the fuck am I doing? And so I like text James. I'm like, hey, they pulled me right out the gate, dude, and here's what they want me to read. what do I fucking do, you know? And so he kind of coached me along to it. And once I'd had drama and a little bit of theater in college, but I wasn't, I was pretty nervous. It's like, what am I fucking doing here? And this isn't my thing. And, so it'd be like someone getting on stage with a guitar and never really learning how to play a guitar and trying to play a song in front of everybody. And so he kind of coached me real quick, and I talked to him, and he kind of like, he read for this other martial part, and he just kind of like was just like, here, this is how you need to act. You need to act like you have a chip on your shoulder, that you are unsure about this U.S. Marshal that's not Native American. And so I read it, and I got a few callbacks for it, and was in the final for the role, and then COVID hit. And but during that time, I'd gotten cast in a few other cool roles, and some indie stuff, and kind of just started getting my chops with that. And then like when I was at that casting call, that bigger casting call for Killers of the Flower Moon, there was other casting agents there, and I didn't realize that. And so I started getting all these emails, and they were like, "Hey, we think you'd be a perfect fit for this, or would you be interested in submitting a self-tape and blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "Self-tape? What? What the fuck are you talking about?" And so a lot of my first early self-tapes were like this right here. Okay, there was like nothing, and I'm looking down at the lines, and I'm like, trying to, talk and stuff, and just, I look like a total fucking idiot is what I look like. And then I was like, well, I need to look this stuff up because I'm getting this thrown at me. Maybe this is a good idea to actually like invest some time in, so I don't have shit going on right now. And so I started looking up self-tapes, what people do, the best, thing you can do, how to, record yourself in good lighting. And just kind of went from there. And I was out on the coast. It was a couple months later, and I got hit up by Freyhofer Casting, and they were like, "Hey, we have a coach's role in American Underdog for our graduate assistant coach, that we'd love for you to come in and be a part of this film, and you have to be here tomorrow." And so I was just like, "Okay, well, here I come." And so at that point, I just, I flew back and made it to Oklahoma because that's where they filmed the whole thing at. And then boom, after that, it was just kind of like one thing really after another. And I mean, like right before we started here, I was like, I need to check my email. I haven't checked my email today. And so I did. And I got a, email from Reservation Dogs, which is a huge show on FX. And they were like, "Hey, we need your,
Respect on that.
yeah, we need your, your shirt size, basically your whole wardrobe and all that." So, we, these are the dates we're going to be shooting, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Oh shit, well, I got to do the show." And then I'll send them that. So, yeah. So hopefully that's something, that does happen. You never know. Hopefully
Okay,
they put me on something.
I am trying not to be incredibly jealous, but how the fuck did you sit next to Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, like, that's,
I looked at that and I'm like, man, I've been acting for 6 years, and now you're chilling next to like the biggest name in fucking Hollywood.
oh yeah, yeah. It's a really cool thing. Like I honestly had that same, kind of, I guess, reaction when I did a scene on 1883, and in this little gunfight scene, I turn and like I'm in the scene with Billy Bob Thornton, and Sam Elliott's in it, and Tim McGraw, and who else? It's like pretty much like the whole A list of that show is in this scene, and I go to duck in this gunfight, and I look, and Sam Elliott's like right next to me, and he's got his gun out, like, over my shoulder, and like, it's totally safe, but I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm looking at Sam Elliott right in the eye, like 5 inches away from each other. And I'm like, last year I was like not thinking I was ever gonna, work in the entertainment business ever, because we were all locked down, and it looked pretty grim for any entertainment. So that was like kind of like, wow, this is really fucking cool moment, And so I don't know, I mean, it's just one of those things. But
No, I remember when I very first met you, and then you're like, I'm thinking about doing it. And I remember we were at the Rainbow Room, and it was right after your show, and you're like, I don't know if I should, but I'm thinking about doing it. And you were kind of hesitant or not really sure, and just, via social media, I've just seen your career grow in the fastest thing, like someone fucking sprinkled miracle drip on your shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's basically, it was crazy. I mean, like, honestly, like that really, really was it. And, sorry, I'm just trying to get this, computer up. So, I forgot my pen. So shit, we'll just stick with the phone. So I feel like we got the echo out. So I'm going to plug my phone up so it can charge and it won't die while we're doing this. Let's see. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of like, it's weird because it's like when I went to that, and I owe so much to like so many great people that I've met along the way, because I do remember our conversation and stuff about that, because it's like, yeah, I was thinking about getting into acting and stuff, but I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. I mean, I knew some actors and actresses and stuff like that were friends of mine, fans, stuff like that, and everything, but I didn't know the first thing, and I'm still learning a lot. And I mean, it was weird because when I went to that casting call, I mean, James was like, you need, James is one of those guys that, man, he's really lighthearted and he's sincere about what he says, and stuff. And he was like, you really need to go, man. You'd be surprised. I think you'd do really well. And so I went, and it was just, it's like, as soon as I was there, I was like in line, waiting with everybody else to see who got to be an extra or what, because I didn't know what they were wanting. I just showed up because I had some friends from a different Native American school that I went to, that were going to be there. And so I was like, well, I get to see some folks, probably some family and whatnot, also. And boom, that was it, And so ever since then, it's like, and I got to kind of remind myself too, because it's like, I'm like, well, it's not moving fast enough. And then I'm like, wait a second. It's like,
you overachiever, bro.
And so I'm like,
it's not moving fast enough. You sitting next to Nicole Kidman is not Tom Cruise on Oprah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where, I got, it's always good to kind of just, step back and realize like, hey, this is a day-to-day thing. And, this is not something that I really probably even want to jump to go overnight into, I guess, like next level.
Fan base, right? Like how many fans would you say show up to one of your shows consistently? I'm just curious.
Man, that's hard now because of we play different places now. Because I mean, it's like, used to, before it was we were on the road a lot, and we were going from Oklahoma to Minnesota to Nebraska, South Dakota.
Dude, every other story you're in a different fucking state. I was just like, dude, where the fuck does he sleep? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, like, it was like really that crazy for 4 years. And so we would have different, I mean, it was like the same rotation. Every couple months we'd be coming back around. And so a lot of the same people would show up. But now it's like we're playing in Texas mainly. And especially now since gas prices, because I know. I was talking to some people at like the Troubadour and starting to get like all of our booking situation ready for a West Coast tour. And I told them, I said, well, and this was like January, I said, I'm going to hold off until the 1st of March, and then I'll start booking the West Coast tour, because I don't want to do it early summer, I want to do it late. I want to do late July, August, and so everything looked pretty good with that. And then with the gas prices, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna kind of hold off a little bit. You know, I'm not really wanting to sell, you know, my car and you know, life and soul
Right.
to go play some shows, which sucks because that's where I'm more comfortable, you know, and that's what the life I'm used to. And it's like, well, shit, I gotta, you know, it's well, now I got some more time to work on my acting chops, so probably start taking some classes here pretty soon, you know, and follow
Right.
this through. So
No, you're picking up traction, and I mean, it's just kind of crazy because your world is divided between what I'm used to, my fan base, my family, your music family, versus okay, you know, how do I prepare for this role? So this kind of transitions into our next question: who are you when you are off stage and when you perform?
um, that is good. Like,
Gotcha.
are we talking? We're talking about music stage, right?
Like the music stage, man. Like the stage.
Yeah. Which stage? Sorry.
That's a meta question, though.
My bad.
So,
All right. No, music. Yeah. Music Mondays. Music.
yeah, music. I would say, just, dude, I'm pretty much myself on stage. Like, I guess, like I'm, you know, I like to play the song and move along to the next one. If that makes sense. I like to keep the show going. I don't like boring stuff. I hate dead air. And that's something that, you know, I preach to my band about. You know, it's like, you know, fucking, let's keep everything going. Let's keep the energy, stuff like that. I would say I'm just more lively when I'm off stage. It depends. I mean, because man, I went through so many phases like touring because it was like, you know, you got Party Wayne who off like as soon as we'd get off the stage, it's like, you know, slamming whiskey and, you know, stuff like that. And then, you know, partying all night or whatever. And now I've like, you know, just come into this time of my life where it's like, okay, played a great show. You know, I'm ready to go to bed. I got to get up in the morning. I got to work out, you know, I got to get cardio in. I got to lift. I got, you know, all this other stuff to do now. So it's definitely, it's kind of like, it's a more serious one, I guess, now. So,
Yeah.
you know.
If I could explain your Instagram stories in a nutshell, it's workout, meme, show, road, photo shoot, video shoot, road, and then workout. Yeah, I think I figured it. I'm a genius. I figured it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it, like that. And I mean, here lately, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from like the music side of it at all. But I think with everything that's been going on in the world and, you know, I didn't really start to get too like crazy political or anything until COVID hit. And that took us off the road. That took us completely the fuck off the road. And we were out touring, the last week before the nation got shut down. So when we came home, everything was done. I mean, there was nobody left to be able to play. Everything was shut down. And so we came in from like Kansas or somewhere. And I told my band, I said, look, here's the deal with this. This virus is, I'm not taking anything away from it, but it's a serious virus. And either this is going to be the end of times and you're going to see bodies stacked up on the side of the road, like they're saying, like how bad this could be, or it's going to be something that is, you know, that you should take serious. But I think it might be a U.S. political, more of a political move, and which sucks because it's going to hit us all in the entertainment business, like, you know, right in the freaking heart. And
oh yeah, yeah.
and
All of us are
then, yeah.
entertainers, and you know, Michael's an
Yeah,
actor.
I mean, I take it personally. I think it's one of those things where, you know, it took us. I mean, I won't say it took me out of the game because I think you can take yourself out of the game by allowing them to, you know, put up barriers and, you know, oh, well, you can't play because we're shutting everything down. Well, I could go fucking play in my backyard, so eat shit, you know.
Man, the way that people have like obviously like made their way around like the whole like not being able to play at venues thing is like doing shows from their studio, like doing
Yeah, I mean, there was
live
like
broadcasts.
there were ways of doing podcasts, or I mean, like doing
Yeah.
live casting and stuff. And so I'd been going so long at that point, and I was kind of like, guys, I need a break. I told my band, I said, I need a break, and I think if we can, manage this situation and get around it. And then within 3 months, I think we were off 2.5 months in Texas. And then they opened up the outdoor venues. And as soon as they opened them up, we were back going. We were playing at least outside of Austin, Dripping Springs area.
Nice.
And some of the bigger cattle ranches, the people started buying humongous inflatable drive-in like movie screens, right? And they put a lot of effort into this for people to have entertainment. And so people could go watch drive-ins, and then they would build stages next to the drive-ins and sound like they'd have a PA set up, and bands started doing that here. And that was one of those things that I think actually kind of saved the Texas music scene, because at least people were able to get out at that point and perform and kind of have that interaction with others, because it was starting to eat at other musicians. I mean, I don't know about worldwide. I'm sure, worldwide, because I mean, I saw it firsthand, with our circle here and the psyche and everything like that. But yeah, I took it personal. I took it as one of those things to where I really started just going down the rabbit hole, and people were like, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist now." Well, now if you look at things, I'm not so much of a conspiracy theorist, And I mean, being Native American, I grew up in a Native American home. Went to all Native school. My dad did. We were very active in our community, in our tribes community and stuff. And so I knew bullshit when like anytime the U.S. government comes to me or to anybody, I'm looking for flags, and I don't care what affiliation or anything like that. I just look for different things, and here lately, I mean, it's been a bad deal, and
Right.
and it's been that way for a while, and it's just like, tell the truth, what's really going on. And I think because I mean, to me, it's crazy that I'm having to do all this crazy protocol stuff, on movie sets, okay? And I don't care if this ruins my my status within the film community or not. But when I'm on set and they're like, everybody needs to put their masks on. Okay, cool. Let's put our masks on, since you guys want everybody to put their mask on. But why does why do these 3 A-list stars that are standing next to me not have to put theirs on?
That's fucked up.
That's bullshit.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
and that's I mean, and
No
honestly,
way.
that's what I've seen from every film set like I've been on, and until just recently, like this last week. And there's some A-listers that are like, I'm putting my mask on regardless. I don't care, and that's their right,
Right.
But yeah, it was pretty fucking nuts, because I mean, I'm like, well, COVID doesn't discriminate, I mean, shit,
No, you know
hell,
what?
if you're having me put this on, then why is it, you're telling me to put my mask on when I'm sitting there with Tim McGraw having a conversation, and then you're telling me, when we're running lines and stuff, okay, take them off. Well, what the fuck? It's like, dude, come the fuck on.
Do they tell him? Do they tell
Huh?
him?
Did they tell him?
Yeah, do they tell him to put it on?
Oh, I mean, they would say, hey, you guys need to put your mask on, and they wouldn't, I mean, that's just that. I mean, I mean, your A-listers are like, yeah, what the fuck ever. I mean,
Yeah, I was doing background as
Yeah.
or I was doing background with Tiffany Haddish in the show After Party, but yeah, she didn't fucking care.
hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's kind of, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's in my genetics or what, but like everyone was kind of like, yeah, we'll put our mask on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait a second, you know, this doesn't make any fucking sense. You know what I mean? So we're all COVID free. You know, we all been tested, you know, this morning. This does not make any, you know, this does not make any sense why we're, you know, burning up out here or like doing, you know, or whatever scene. I mean, it's not just that one. I mean, I've been like I said, it was several sets that I was on where I was just like, this, you know, you want to treat everybody else like peasants except A-listers. I mean, I
Yeah.
can see why they wanted to have the big walkouts and stuff like that. You know, I mean,
I
so
hate that shit. I hate it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, and that's it. It's like, you know, I mean, I was just like, I mean, I had an issue. I mean, I'm probably the guy that's going to get blackballed out of this whole fucking thing. But, you know, I mean, I had an issue with a PA on set one day, you know, and he was being a dick. I called him out and, you know, I mean, I was like, basically told him I was going to whoop his ass. And yeah.
Damn. Damn.
And, it was
wait, why?
I mean,
What
the guy
happened?
was a prick. He was a total prick. Me and Rob Corddry from Ballers and American or Hot Tub Time Machine. We're sitting there bullshitting and laughing at how we're having to drink fake beer in this scene. And this PA comes up who does like, he's a set coordinator, and he's like, I didn't clear that for you guys to have those. And I'm like, what the fuck's your fucking deal, dude? And tries to act all big in front of everybody. And then, you know, I get pissed and embarrassed. So, of course, I go off, you know, and then shit, you know. But, yeah, I mean, I've had an interesting run with it. I mean, I do for the most part. When you weigh the pros and cons out, I really do it. I mean, I really do like it. And I hope to further my career with it and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that's going to go on and fucking, you know, tell every little thing and stuff that is, you know, like I've seen so many cast members from different stuff get online and be like, I was bullied or like, you know, or some shit like that. And I'm like, what are you, 5? You know, I mean, I talk down to my band all the time, you know, fuck off. You know,
Wait, so I just kind of want to segue into this question. So how are you received in the Native American community?
I mean, like for the music wise, good. Acting wise, good. Political beliefs, no. I think I think it's one of those things where I don't say like by all. I mean, because it's such a split thing because, you know, you have a lot of tribes that are government dependent, and I do think that the government, U.S. government, does. I mean, you know, if you want my honest opinion, I mean they've broken every treaty, I think, with every native tribe that has one, and so they do owe them a lot. And you know, it's kind of one of those things where I wish they would shut their damn mouths and start, you know, paying up. You know, as far as like honoring it. But what's that?
I have a funny story. So Jason Momoa, right? I was in Portland, and someone was like, Jason Momoa's in Portland. I was like, why the fuck is he in Portland? Number one, why are you here? So I was like, I go to, you know, the Crystal Ballroom, and he's actually fucking here. And I was like, holy fuck, you're actually here, right? And he did a Native American film. And honestly, I guess he wrote it, he directed it, but the writing is kind of subpar. You're using cuss words, every other thing. It's not like the best piece of writing, in my opinion, right? And,
Right.
you know, my ex for 5 years was Native American. So I asked him a very interesting question. I was like, you know, how are you going to, so like, for instance, one of the narratives that I think is interesting was his nephew was half Black, half Native. And I always thought it was interesting because when he went to his dad's house, he had to get a haircut, but in Native culture, you don't do that, right? So there's a very huge dichotomy with that. And I was like, you know, I asked Jason Momoa while he was on the stage, I was like, so what other narratives are you going to go from here? And he was kind of stumped. And I was like, oh, well, blah, 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 blah. I can't really remember, but I know I stumped him. In my head, I was like, gotcha, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? I was proud of myself, right? And then
Yeah.
I asked another question. And then he like picked the hottest chick out of the crowd. I swear to God, she was like a green-eyed cat woman. I don't know where he got her from, but he picked her. Okay. Whoop. And then before he leaves, he puts his arm around me and he goes, "Yo, so let me ask you something. What'd you really think about my movie?" And I was like, "Wow, it was great." No, dude, it was way atrocious.
Was it Road to Paloma?
Dude, it was so bad. There was like these very horrible scenes of Native American women being brutalized and sexualized. I had to walk out. There was a certain part of the movie where I was like, "Yo, this is overwhelming. I can't even stomach what the fuck this scene is right now."
What
So I didn't tell him that.
was it it was his film?
It was his film.
Was it Road to Paloma? Was that the name?
It
I'm guessing.
was over. It was over 5 years ago. I do know that.
Yeah, so that was probably it. Like, did it have his wife in it?
I think so. It did.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It had his wife in it. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's one of those things to where I think he was like just trying to show like how the like Native American women and children on reservations are very I don't even know how to say it other than brutalized a lot of times.
Right.
Because of the kidnappings and stuff like that with
Yeah, I've
like all that.
seen like so much about
It's
that.
happening every second, you know, as far as like last time I checked, it was like there was like a couple a day. And that's my main thing is to where it's like when I go off on the political stuff with people and other natives, I'm trying to just like say, hey, you know, you don't have to take what the government's giving you. You know, you can go, you know, you don't have to fucking take their cheese. You don't have to take their bullshit. You don't have to take this shit. You can
Right.
stand up and start whooping some ass. And, you know, whether that means going off and doing things on your own, succeeding on your own, or staying there for your community and making a stand, you know? I mean, that's the whole thing is it's like, you know, we're making more awareness. But don't lay still. I mean, that's, you know, it's what the government wants. That's what they fucking set those reservations up for, was for you to be a captive and to never do shit. And that's the biggest thing that I try and, you know, tell other natives. It's like, dude, you know, I'm not trying to be one-sided political here, but when someone sets a program up, no matter if they're Democrat or Republican, and it's a good program that you can use for your advantage and like to do something great with, then it doesn't matter who came up with it, you know? I mean, shit.
So Wayne, to kind of add on to this question, maybe for educational purposes, in terms of the Native American territories,
Yeah.
are people who live on these reservations, is that, I mean, this is part of the U.S. government, or are these territories that belong to the natives and the U.S. cannot intervene onto this property?
See, and that's a tricky fucking thing, because it's federal land, right? It's federal sovereign tribal land.
Yeah.
The U.S. government, like, pretty much every reservation is a little bit different the way they handle stuff. They do have, like, some people have treaties with, or it's not even treaties. It's more of agreements with state police or local police or local jurisdiction, stuff like that. You know, some people actually own the land that they're on certain reservations. Every certain one's different, but the federal government, for the most part, they do have jurisdiction, and it's one of those things to where, like, if you ever look into like the kidnappings and stuff that happen on the reservations, or any violent crimes, okay, most of the time it takes the local light horse or Bureau of Indian Affairs police or whatever their tribal police is. Unless it happens right down the road from them, usually it takes them a day or so to get to the crime scene.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not something that's going to happen like really, like I said, unless they're just right there. Because
and it's not.
There's sometimes there's two 2 police officers for 5,000 square acres, or however many, how big that reservation is. Sometimes there's only like 2 cops for a few hundred miles, and I mean, and that's
atrocious.
insane. I mean,
now,
that's atrocious.
And the federal government knows that, and they've set it up that way. And it's one of those deals to where, serial killers were using tribal reservations for practice grounds, starting from like the earliest era, as early as the 30s and 40s.
Wow.
So now in terms, because see, I am not aware of this, and you're teaching me something, but I'm sure a lot.
And that's the thing, is like, you won't be, unless you talk to like someone that's actually native and in the communities. This stays hidden, and you try and make local news, and you try and make big media. I know my buddy Pete Sands. He's really pushed it and tried to, and he's got a new documentary coming out that should gain a lot of traction with that'll be coming out, I think, here pretty soon. That is showing the murdered and missing Indigenous women and children, and going. I don't know how he's doing his documentary, so I can't even say, hey, it's just, it's going to be this, and this, but I know that that's what it is, and that's what it's about.
So now,
and then we've got a film that we've kicked off that's going to be kind of doing the same. It's about a DEA agent that's native and goes and tries to track drug movement on a reservation, has his kid get kidnapped, and he basically goes after a cartel alone. And it's also got a bit of a supernatural influence to it, because I mean, like, a lot of native stuff is a lot of spiritual things. So we added that into the realm. So I'm really stoked to be a part of that too. But I'm trying to do as much as I can to bring awareness to it, because it's like, they're not, even the boarding schools that were here, the Native American boarding schools, people don't realize that, man, those kids got kidnapped in the late 1800s or mid to late 1800s. I think the one I went to opened up in like 1868 or 1870, and they got shipped there. And like the Catholic Church was the main one that was involved. That the U.S. government basically was like, assigning them to run it. Okay, these there were boarding schools and industrial schools, right? And so they, my family got sent to them. All my family did. And then some of my family, I think, actually got there and then hauled ass and went back to their territories. But I had quite a few that went. Quite a few elders. Grandmas and grandpas and great grandmas and great that all went there. And I didn't really know the atrocities of them until I got to be older, until I got to be like in high school, and then, I was kind of reading on different stuff, and then college, going to Haskell Indian Nations college. That's when I really learned the most, and it was just unreal. I mean, they had cuffs for infants, handcuffs, fucking steel iron chains.
Wow.
Steel iron chains, handcuffs.
That's disgusting.
That's fucking gross, dude. That's bullshit.
They were, the horrors that were there. I mean, people don't realize, like, dude, they were fucking killing kids. They would, the priests would knock up, girls that were native girls that were like 12 years old, 13 years old, and they would end up having a kid, and they would take that child after a couple of days. They would trick the moms, and they'd say, "Oh, we're gonna let you get some rest, let us take the baby and we'll feed it and stuff." And then they'd take it down to the fucking kitchen, and they'd throw it in a fucking oven.
Why?
Yeah. They would lock little native kids in cells underneath the school, or the dorms, and they would leave for the winter and then come back and they'd be dead. And Adolf Hitler got his plan, or like, not Adolf, I shouldn't just say him, but the SS got their plans from the Holocaust from the Native American boarding schools, and that's a fact.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of connection between
Yep,
the
Wayne,
U.S.
just
and
to
that.
connection to the U.S.
So,
and the Nazis.
so
Mm-hmm.
Wayne, just to clarify, okay, to really clear this up and let everyone know, who were the ones that were brutalizing these Native American women and doing this to the children? You can say
That
it.
would be the priests and the nuns and some of the other officials that would come in,
Mm-hmm.
government officials and everything like that. So
And
there
these,
was
and
just a
just to
wide range.
clarify,
I mean,
these were priests, nuns that were American white.
um, that's one of those things where some of them actually came from Europe. Some of them came
Wow.
from Spain, Rome. I mean, like Italy. There were different ones.
Oh,
The country was so new at that point that it wasn't just, priests and nuns that were, white or whatever you would consider, that or Caucasian. It was,
Anglo-Saxon.
yeah. I mean, dude, you had people coming from Italy and Spain and everything else. So, I mean, that's kind of,
that is so
Basically,
great.
Europe. Basically, it's a Europe power play.
yeah. And
Big
so,
Europe power play.
and that's the thing. And like, a lot, like once the public started hearing about this stuff, they had to shut up. They started, okay, we got to make this shift because people, no one's cool with that. I mean, I mean, my true belief is the majority of people are not going to be fine with having children raped and killed,
Yeah.
no matter who you are.
Yeah,
And so it was a hush hush. Let's keep it on the DL. There was also a bill that was going through the through Congress that they were going to use those boarding schools to just straight up kill off all natives, and they were going to do it by killing the second generation, like the children, and then
greed,
the
power
elders
hungry,
done.
fucking crazy fucks. I mean, dude,
Oh
Jesus.
yeah, that's why I tell people, I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't put too much stock into these people in the fucking White House, dude. And I mean,
I'm
like, that's just
serious.
honest to
Thank
God's
you.
fucking truth.
Thank you.
For
We're
real.
literally
I mean,
putting
dude, they
so
don't.
much
I mean,
power. We're giving
if
so
you don't
much
think
power.
that they won't do that again to us, as far as like as a whole now, like you're
What they do to
sadly
the
fucking
lead.
mistaken.
My
There's
uncle.
a phrase.
Go ahead.
There's a phrase that goes, "What they'll do to the least of us, they'll do to the rest of
So,
us, or the most of us."
so yeah,
Yeah.
my uncle's in Michigan, and apparently he has land upper coast Michigan, and apparently there is a group of Chinese men lined up on a fucking land plot, just plotting the next shit. And my uncle is the one who was like, "Yo, what is that noise? What's going on?" Lo and behold, there it is, bro.
Oh,
Plain as
hey,
day.
it's in Oklahoma too. Like my dad was out hunting. Well, see, my mom, she had told me like last year, she was like, I'm noticing, she like called me one time. She was like, I'm noticing a lot of Chinese people around here. And I'm like, Mom, you're in the middle of nowhere. You live in the part of Oklahoma mountains.
Right.
Are you sure they're not Choctaw? I mean, are you sure they're not Choctaw?
Well, yeah, there's tribes
Yeah,
that, yeah.
she's like, no, they're driving around in corporation trucks that have the Chinese writing on there. And so I wasn't so, laughing anymore. I was like, okay, well, Mom, that could be anything. Maybe they're, tapping into, power supplies, whatever. And then my dad was out hunting one day and he ran onto one and he was like, the guy had pulled up, was kind of waiting for him, I think, like the end of this road. And he asked him, he was like, do you, my dad said he spoke kind of broken English and was like, is this your land? Do you own this land? And my dad was like, yeah, it's my land. I'm Cherokee Indian. Get the hell out of here, or what do you want? He's like really standoffish to him. And that's it. They're buying, I found out through a couple of friends down there that they're buying up farmland and different acreage that might be shit land to us, but it's something to them.
Dude, we owe China so much, and we have just figured out some crazy amalgamum fucking Voldemort of how to fucking give it to him now, didn't we? Okay.
Now, and here's the thing: is I played a private show for a colonel that is, or what? Like, he's retired now, but he was pretty high up, and he's recently retired, and you know, we got to talking about everything, and he told me this. He was like, "Look, the U.S. has most of the time a 10 to 20-year plan if they're going to do something, if that.
Right.
Usually it's pretty short term, and then they're on to the next thing that can be a next voter grab or some shit like that."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Okay, the Chinese," he was like, "they have a 100-year plan, and they set things in place." And he said, he was like, when he was in, he knew that the only, and the Chinese knew it too, the only way that they could beat us would not be to come over here and fight, because they knew that it's not going to fucking work out. But if they can get our resources and they can own our resources, then they got us. And now they're owning pot farms. Yeah, dude, they own, like, there's so much shit that they own in Oklahoma. Like, that's like, I'm like, you know, it's like, it's crazy. Like,
it's ridiculous, because it's like
weed is legal there, and so now they own pot farms. They did own some drilling stuff. A lot of the different farmland that they were buying up, just tons of it. So that's their thing, is to, you know, if they're going to dominate America and take it over, is they're going to do it from within. And once they own the resources and got the resources and the control in the market, in the, you know, market world, then they got you. You can't do a fucking thing except pay them, you know. And I think that's kind of what I think, that, you know, with the U.S. government, there's so many different sides to it. You know, I think you got people that have sold their you know, mind, body, and soul to them. You know, that are fine with that socialistic takeover. And then you got people that are probably in with Russia. They're probably in with, you know, they're definitely in with Ukraine and stuff like that. I mean, so it's a total fucking nightmare. I mean, dude, I got to fucking watch a horror movie at night to fucking calm down sometimes. You know? I mean,
yeah.
shit.
And it's like our country, and the worst part is that, like, this same practice is done in, like, other countries too. Like, I recently saw a video of, and like, this ain't a jab against Chinese people. These people just happen to be working for a company that didn't have good intentions for the interests of the people there. Like, there was this Chinese man, like, yelling at these Africans out, like, at, like, a construction site, like, you know, threatening to beat them and stuff like that. And then, like, you know, of course they whooped his ass, you know. But, like, you know, if it could happen here, it could happen anywhere. Like, and in a lot of cases, that very thing has happened in other places historically. So it's like,
I think I think what we're seeing is kind of the and if you're going to compare it to, I mean, to anything, I think it's like you're starting to see the fall of, like, Rome.
Yeah,
you know,
I can. That makes sense. That's a good parallel.
I mean, that's kind of, I mean, and I hope to God it doesn't happen. I really do, because it's gonna, you know, hit us all. And I've talked to everybody from, you know, guys that are, you know, old country boys to, you know, people that are, you know, guys that are, you know, super liberal. And I'm like, dude, if that shit happens and you're okay, first off, they don't care about your fucking pronouns, dude. And they're going to fucking tell you what to do, what to buy, how to live. Oh, you know, no, you can't date that person because you put this up on your social network. So you're going to go stay in this work camp. And we're going to make you, we're going to make sure we correct your mentality. They'll do that shit. They'll do that shit in a heartbeat.
Not trying to bring
something.
I feel like TikTok is a huge Chinese infiltration fucking agenda. That's just me. But you guys, I don't want us to get overly.
Hold on. I kind of wanted to
Because
bring.
we're gonna pivot back to. Okay, go ahead. Ándale, pues.
So going off of the pronouns, because this is something that kind of interests me. In Native American culture, I have heard that pronouns have been something that have even happened before people knew what pronouns were. Is this true?
I'm sorry you broke up at the very end.
Did pronouns exist even prior to pronouns being a thing in Native American culture? Because I've heard a lot of thing about this, like two kindred spirit thing.
Oh yeah, the twin souls, twin spirit,
Yeah.
the intersex and all that stuff.
Like that was I mean, honestly, if you want to know the truth, just to be honest with you, I think that I mean, if you want me to just lay it out there and be as
Lay it out there.
Stay woke or not, baby. Stay woke or not, baby.
Stay woke or not.
Stay woke or not,
I mean, the whole two spirit thing, as far as like the issue, because I don't even think there's never was an issue.
Well, yeah, because all that stuff that we put out against people who are different in orientation is a colonizer ideal, because like everybody across the,
Yeah, it's one of those things where it never was an issue. Like as far as like if people are gay, they're gay. I mean, like here's the thing: we have a strong. I mean, like, and this is my tribe, and I know several tribes that are this way. Is we have like a strong masculinity presence, and they will. I mean, if you're weak or show any signs of like just being weak,
femininity, right?
Femininity, I would say, yeah, I would say that that it's kind of frowned upon, and that's kind of the older generation. The old school is just kind of that way, and the elders have it's just something that, but it never comes up because it's not.
But it's the values, yeah. Like they, those are the traditions that they have.
Yeah, I mean, our big thing is to basic. I mean, like I'm trying to find the exact words. Is I mean, like our biggest thing is it's a big thing to procreate in our tribe, and for men to, because before the whole settler stuff happened and modern Christianity and everything like that, European Christianity got thrown into our culture. I mean, my fourth great grandpa I think he had like 4 or 5 wives in different villages. Yeah. Now before you go to
I don't know what your name is, but you're in my bed. I don't know my son or a form instead.
Well, wait, guys, wait.
Very Spartan type culture. I mean, and
oh yeah.
He also ate people. He was a cannibal. I mean,
oh my god!
Yeah, he also yeah.
Oh!
Wait! Just to clarify,
George
but he
Washington like documented it and everything, and his name was Doublehead, and it was he got his name because you didn't know who you were talking to. Sometimes, like he would straight up act you. He was a maniac, but I think he was a maniac on. I mean, it was like he had to be that way because it was something that they had never seen with settlers, and having to deal with that. They had already started breaking treaties on land treaties. They had killed his brother. He was really going like I think he was on the warpath longer than any native there's ever been. But he would skin his enemies and eat them and boil their bones and send them back to either Washington or their army camps in deer hide sacks.
It's
hey,
crazy.
Let me tell you how this is gonna go down. You're gonna die. I'm gonna eat you, and you're in my soup. All right?
Yeah, like I never think they made a movie about him. I mean,
I'm gonna disseminate you in all probabilities of fuckery.
I feel like to your point, Wayne, though, what you just said just now, I would love to see more horror movies come out of the Native community. I would like out of every.
Whenever
Wayne,
you
I
like
need you to
actually
do
get
this
into
for us, and then you can include me in there because
I mean, like, I'm sure, like, because my thing is, I'm sure that it exists even within like a small niche, but like, I would love to see more of it because there's so many. Like, one thing I'm obsessed with is like folk tales. I love that.
Yeah.
Shit. I love that shit, and it'd be great to see a film that's in the power of the people who are giving the stories instead of it just being a Hollywood
please do it and
shine or
include
whatever.
me in
You know,
it.
like.
Oh yeah. No, I hear. I totally hear you. I mean, that's that. No, that's honest to God. I really hope that, and that's something that like I've been thinking about. You know how I could do that, and or how anybody would do it. What kind of different lores? We have so many different folklores and like different things that are scary. I mean, they're terrifying. I've been on, like, you can ask my band. We've been on tour and in the middle of the night in like Arizona, New Mexico, and I'll start telling, stories of like, just different things from like about my fourth great grandpa to when I was at that native boarding school, how haunted it was, and different encounters with, different spirits and like different things like that. And they wouldn't sleep for like days.
You're such a
My
jerk.
14-year-old guitar player, like,
He's like, I really need you guys on point, okay? I need you on point.
Yeah.
Listen to this story and fucking deliver tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we really like. I would spook them, and they'd stay up like for a day or two, and then I have to tell them like, yeah, that happened in Kansas, man. So, dude, we're in California, So, but yeah, it's pretty scary stuff. I mean, there's like a lot of different things. There's actually one that just came out, and I saw it a couple weeks ago, and it's called like, fuck, I think it's called like Antlers or something.
Antlers. Oh yeah, with the kid who has the. And he's being chased. He's being chased around by like all these hunters.
With the little kid with the antlers, like, and includes the elements of the pandemic and the mist of the kid being chased down by the big dudes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's like I think they have. It's like the Wendigo is what is the spirit, and they actually did a really great job with that. I mean, it was fucking on point. But there's a lot more out there, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Like, because I feel like all these. I remember like I was reading like some of the promotional mail you get from Bandcamp, and like Bandcamp on their site, they had this section about how like there was this one label that all of the albums and content that they release is like idiosyncratic to the culture that they're part of and stuff like that. Like all of those stories being told over and over again. And like, that's one thing I feel like was missing from like my childhood, like when my elders came to America and stuff like that. Cause like, I'm starting to see now that it's very important for you to experience that part.
Right.
Yeah, I was the same way, like for a long time, and I pretty much like it was. I think it's a level of maturity a lot of times, and how our personal wants. We, kind of like, it's like I want to party all the time. I mean, dude, different places in your life and stuff, and things, and I mean, I feel very fortunate to have came to that turn in the road the last few years to where that it's super important to me as it is to you. And the more I can learn and stuff from not just my tribe, but from other tribes and other, people and different
always
cultures.
Be curious about your neighbor. Always be curious.
It right there. I mean, because some of the most, fantastic stories and stuff are going to come from other cultures and other people, and being able to relate to them in some way through, their experience to your experience, and have a lot of intertwining,
And as far as like, and it's like when you when the beliefs are established growing up and like those stories are in your mind, like then that creates like a whole like powerful echo across the minds of the people who are around you in your community. It's like,
Oh yeah.
Now it's like this is made real and concrete from our brains, aside from us like possibly experiencing this like late at night in the woods kind of shit. Like, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, because I mean, like man, being in Texas, it's a really cool culture because, like, I've experienced some really cool things here, and a lot of my friends and bandmates will tell you, like, you know, if weird shit's gonna happen, it'll happen around me. And man, I've had, like, I had to go to my tribal medicine man, like right before COVID hit, because like I had this string of bad luck. And it was just like, man, everything I fucking did turned, like I could win like $300 on a scratch off, right? And then I would blow 3 of my tires. You know,
Sorry.
you know? So I would have something really good happen to me, and then boom, you know, something terrible. I mean, my car like got stolen when I was on tour. I had a wreck, and it wasn't bad. It was I hit some idiot left it or dropped the toolbox off their flatbed work truck, and I just happened to be the person that found it, you know, and I hit it going like 50 miles an hour, and so I took it in. Insurance covered. It was like, yeah, we're covering everything. No big deal. I'm like, okay, cool. I got to go on tour today. I'm gonna be gone for 4 days. I'm gonna be up north, like South Dakota. I think we were headed there somewhere like that. And I'm up there, and I get a phone call from a police officer, and he's like, yeah, we're looking at your car at this dingy motel, and yeah, your car got stolen yesterday, and it was involved in a armed robbery and drug deal and like all this crazy shit. They shot a person.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, holy shit. I'm not even going to be able to drive that car again, because when you pop the VIN number now, that's what it's going to fucking come up as.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, I mean, I had some bad shit happening.
You got hexed, my boy.
That's what that's at.
I had to go to I went to my tribal medicine man to see what was just going on.
Yeah.
And as soon as he starts his, you know, his prayer and looking at stuff, he told me, he was like, he just kind of jumped back in his seat, and he's like, what kind of people are you hanging out with? And I said, oh, this is my band. And he was like, well, there's a girl that I'm seeing here. Yeah, he was like, well, I'm seeing a bruja here, and she's put stuff on you. And she continues to do it. And I was like, what? And it explained it, because I was dating this Hispanic girl, and she would get drunk, and like I caught her messing around with some pentagram shit, and like I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I bought it off Wish. It's just a t-shirt and you know, all this other crazy shit. I'm like,
man.
I bought it off Wish.
You know what, Wayne?
You know?
I'll tell you what she was doing, Wayne.
Fuck no.
Wayne.
Oh, man.
He's Mexican. He can tell you that right now.
She was probably doing something. Yeah, it's like the oldest trick in the book. It's like they believe in worship in this like white devil spirit, and it's like, oh yeah.
Well, it was working, but yeah, I had to go through this. Yeah, and I had to go through this whole ritual that we do in our tribe, the water ritual and stuff, and went through the whole thing. And you know, once I did that, there was nothing. Everything, like I ended up like getting a badass new Challenger, and like everything started happening good. Everything just kind of went back to being life. And
now you getting me curious to go see a medicine man.
Yeah,
I need a medicine man. No, I need a medicine
fucking
man.
women.
We all need a medicine man up in here.
I've always
connect
wondered.
us with your medicine man, please. Okay, we need
I've
it.
always been. You know what though? I want to ask this because I've been so curious. Are all native? Because I'm noticing there's like a pattern. Like all Native Americans kind of have their own little, um, like healing practices,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like, they have like I don't want to say powers, but powers. I mean,
Hey,
Real.
if you're living next to Earth all the time and you're in harmony with it all the time, and you're not surrounded by ambient noise like running fans and cars, your connection is solid. Like,
oh yeah,
I would
that's it.
say
I mean,
this,
and it
like,
explains like people need to understand that just anybody, I don't care who you are, that like whenever you go to a forest, you ever go like I used to do this when I was hunting a lot growing up. If you ever went into the woods, you could notice like if you ever laid down and just like laid still and listened, you could hear all of life.
yeah,
You would hear trees basically breathing. You could hear, I mean, everything that was near you with air and wind. And it
yep.
was the most calming, most peaceful thing. You can actually go into a trance and go into a deep sleep if you just lay there and don't worry about a fucking thing. And
Well,
you'll be
because
gone. I mean, like, you'll have
in
the most
nature,
peaceful rest.
because like in nature, there's no automation. Like everything just kind of
Yeah.
sequences, but not in such like a very chaotic and like forceful delivery kind of way. Like,
Yeah.
there's a system that handles waste when there's not too much waste to deal with already. There's a system that handles the non-living things. They're called scavengers. Like there's a whole, it's an inner working system that like together established with balance continues on like through the life and death cycle. So like that's the thing. Like in our daily life, we're attached to so much automation, so much noise, so much infrasound and rumbles, and it's something I got really sensitive about. Like when I bumped my head when I was in a car accident, I started noticing on the buses, like my forehead would be killing and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely value that whole, reducing the amount of noise pollution you take.
Yeah, no, that's right, man. I mean, you probably turned your brain on. I mean, like your brain probably got sensitive to something like that. Like I mean, like that's a serious fucking thing. I have epilepsy, and I don't go around and parade around and tell everybody about it. But there's certain sounds that get me, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Like it's a very weird thing, and
it's not something that you naturally sit within. Like,
no, that's it. That's the thing, is it's like it'll be put off by a certain siren or a certain color or a certain screech of a tire, something industrial. It's never like anything in nature. And so that's I mean, I think it's just important for people just to find that connection back into into nature. And when you do, there's a lot of stuff that opens up to you that you start understanding better.
Yeah, it's also nice that it's good for people to understand, like, and I'm not like, a conservationist activist or anything like that, but it's like our Earth can do so much more if we're not doing fuck shit as it's trying to do what it's trying to do.
Well, you tell me when that's gonna happen, Mick. You tell me.
No. Of course, this is
for one fucking day, and all of us plant a tree and hug one. Okay?
No. Of course, I'm just saying, like, there have been global warmings that have happened on Earth. Except like the Earth was able to recalibrate itself during those times. It didn't also have pollution. It didn't also have fracking, and didn't also have all this other stuff happening to it as it was trying to be. and it had way more trees on it. The air quality was way more dense and like probably a lot better than what we're breathing in, because that's just me going down a rabbit hole of that, so.
Well, it's like when you go into like different like forests and rainforests and things like that, it's almost like to people I've heard like people talk about coming from LA to New York down to the rainforest and stuff like that, and they said that it was almost like a high, like as far as like getting high, like their bodies were not used to that much oxygen and clean air, that it was a totally different experience. And then when they came home, they hated being back, because of just the different pollution and bullshit.
Yeah, no, I went to Guatemala for a month. This is really funny. So this was before Biden became president, and my mom starts talking a lot of politics. I was like, Mom, I love you, but I cannot handle politics talk. I said I would rather go to Guatemala where the guns are in my face than deal with America with guns at your back. She's like, what? You're leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm fucking leaving. She's like, are you fucking serious? I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm serious. I'm going to Guatemala for a month. She's like, Thalia, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. They got fucking AKs. So she takes $100 bill. She sticks it in my shoe. She hides another one. And she's like, okay, my baby, go. But you know what? I'm glad I went to Guatemala. I needed it. I could not deal with the politics. And dude, just, the air and the people and how very nice everyone is and how things are just a bit more simple than we created in America was good for me to just withdraw, step back, think about what my plan is, because acting is gone in the pandemic. I was screwed. I used to drive other girls to their auditions when I did Lyft and wish them well on their audition. And now all of that's gone, right? I can't wish you well. I don't, no one can do anything. And then I had another gig that, was a brand ambassador for Ciroc and whatever, and there's no event. So my life totally took a 360 as far as what the fuck am I supposed to do for work? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think, Guatemala was a good thing. We saw Sumuk Champe, Atilan, the fucking Mayan stuff. And I think, I think everyone here actually really has deep roots in whatever culture they have, which is very special about this episode today, in my opinion. I think everyone is identifying under a different subsect of, where you come from, right? So my thing is I'm very into Mayan culture. I have these tattoos right here. I think I was a Mayan warrior. I'm not a fucking princess. I was the motherfucker climbing up and down, delivering messages. And I don't know, dude, when I get these premonitions or, whatever these messages are, I think that's where my peoples be. You know what I mean? My peoples be over there.
We were kind of talking about voodoo child, voodoo women or whatever, and whatnot. And I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder which part of my ancestry that was, because it's in West Africa, and I got ancestry there. That's where it comes from. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, you should look it up, man.
Yeah, I should.
You do, queen.
Every single time I've gone to Mexico, for some weird reason, I've never wanted to come back. And it's like, there's this, like, what you're saying, because in Mexican culture, they have this, like, belief that energy and the trees and everything is very, like, it flows within us. And it's like, there's this one woman, this indigenous woman, talks about how, like, when we go through life, we put on different costumes. And so her belief is, the belief is that when we die, that's another costume. So we have to get rid of the costume we're wearing as humans in order to go to the next life. So that was like, what the fuck? Like, that's crazy.
Well, you guys, we have not even gotten there was 5 music questions, but I had no idea we were going to, like, go down whatever rabbit hole that was right now. Did not anticipate
that went in the left field.
Dude, that was not Music Monday. That was cultural fucking no-no. Like, now no.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So, will your mom put money in my shoes?
You tell her you're going to Guatemala and you got no weapons. Who knows?
I'm gonna show up and be like, I need $200. Hey, here's my shoes.
Here's my shoes. She ripped
They
up my shoes.
even got holes in them for you to hide the fucking
Yeah,
money
she
in
ripped
there.
them up. She's like, I don't give a shit, child. You know what I mean? Damn, too funny. Shit. Now I only have. We can only probably do one more question, I suppose. Which I guess. Dang it. What? All right. What has been one of your greatest achievements so far?
I think. Are we just talking about music now?
I mean,
Yeah.
you're a chameleon. Whatever.
Yeah, I would say probably when I got my first Grammy invite. That was really cool.
Nice. How'd that go?
I didn't go. I went to the CMA Awards instead.
Okay.
And that was super cool too. But I don't fit in, really with the CMA people because it's all, the uppity ups, as far as like all that goes. It's like there's no real country roots or low rock roots there. It's, we're doing beats with a banjo, and that's what modern Nashville country music is. I mean, if you want to know the truth.
So wait, my question for you would be, when it comes to Stagecoach, would that be something you'd be interested in being involved in, or not really?
Yeah, because there's so much different. Like, I mean, there's guys that and girls that are really talented as far as like in the Americana genre that end up. That's more of like the genre that I'm in is the Americana genre, and that plays Stagecoach.
Okay.
That's one of the, like, I had a manager that was he was actually like really good, but I didn't realize, like, when I signed with him shortly after the whole CMT thing that he was going through a divorce and like basically just like a mental case, and so he totally fucked me for about a year and a half on a lot of stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that we were gearing up for, that the whole COVID thing happened and killed that momentum. But like I said before, I think that, if you, build your own, you can be the master of your own destiny. You don't have to let, some, fly by night, fucking, pencil pushing agent control it. So,
right.
So hopefully,
I mean, it's been so amazing to just watch you on your rise and really adapt so gracefully into these different positions. And I'll be honest with you, during the pandemic, I was absolutely in that place. And just watching you still do it gave me hope, and it was really inspiring. And I don't think I've ever really told you that, but, to see you still doing it or trying or pushing or, wanting more than the situation and not accepting the situation and trying to prevail outside of that. You know what I mean? I think that was cool to watch, because I had to go, dude. I was like, fuck this. I'm going to Guatemala. Peace, mom. Peace, love, and chicken.
I mean, I'm glad, like, that, I've had, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that. I've had several people tell me exactly what you just said.
Right.
Minus the Guatemala. You're the only person. But, and it wasn't, I think it's just something that's like my parents and my family and close friends were kind of like, well, that's kind of expected. Like, I mean, I never was the guy that stuck around, stuck around the hometown to, just hang out. I mean, when there's nothing there for me and stuff and shit's changing, then I always feel like when I feel those winds of change, I feel like I better adapt or otherwise I'm fucked,
Yeah.
And that's exactly like what because I'll start going, I have a process that I notice with myself. I'll start going stir crazy, and I'll start like getting really like angry and like mad, and then all of a sudden a light will pop, and it's like, oh shit, I needed to be doing this. Fuck, here we go. All right, now this is gonna happen.
I mean, it feels good to hear that being said from somebody else.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Y'all
I
got
feel
some
that.
different
Yeah.
tribal roots. I know his is from the other side, and yours is from.
Nah, but like I mean, like I can appreciate that as a musician myself. Like
Yeah.
even if it's always a thing. When you're not able to see everything, you forget about the small working pieces that you do have going, and you just get in that mode. And then like when that dopamine response is not like fulfilled at all, then yeah.
I love that
Yeah.
comment. I love that you're so open about your shadow. That's brilliant. That's a great comment.
My shadow. Is that what?
Yeah.
What is it saying that to?
That expression you just made, what was that?
Oh, he's referring to like your shadow being like when you get mad, when you
Okay,
feel,
cool.
and it's like, and it's not like a,
Medicine man again. Fuck.
and it's not like a bad, and it's not like
You're
a
not being
bad
bad.
shadow thing.
Fuck's my
It's
shadow.
more like this is It's called a shadow because it's hiding some gems in there for you.
Right.
Those
right.
flaws and whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's that's just I think that people should be that way in general. And we don't. And I used to
Yeah.
for a long time, or not for a long time, but it seemed like it was a long time when I was really immature. I worried about what people thought a lot, and once I got past the that point, that's whenever it was like there was more creativity in my life, and like being able to sit down and I'm on tour and I'm bored as fuck, and I'm open about everything. I mean, I was a bad drug addict. I wouldn't say addict because I could stop at whenever I wanted to, and I'm very fortunate to have that kind of non-addictive personality with that substance. And so I would be up for 2 or 3 days on coke benders. And this isn't recent, okay? This is years ago. And I would be like, I think I'm gonna write a screenplay today. I think I'm gonna sit down and write this screenplay that I've got in mind because I'm bored and I don't want to do drugs anymore. And everyone's pissing me off, so I'm gonna stay up all night on the road and I'm gonna write this. As to where before, when I was like in college and stuff, well, what if I write it and somebody reads it and I look like a fucking idiot, and that chick over there like doesn't like me back, and it's like once you get past the immaturity shit, it's like I think that has a lot to do with your creativity and just kind of being in touch of who you are and everything like that. And I found that I'm less lazy now. I mean, like I like to wake up, I like to go jog, I like to go lift, I like to go jog again. I like to, ride as I'm, or pulling off on the side of the road to jot stuff down. I don't ever fucking write while I'm, going along, but because that would be dangerous. But, I mean, it's stuff like that, I think that it brings more creativity out, the more mature, the wiser you are. And, so shadow, that's it.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I call that? When you're like, I'm not gonna sleep, so I need to do something like creative. That's like winsomnia. Like insomnia but winning. Like
Winsomnia.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. There's times where I've set up and I'm like stir crazy, and I'm like, why the fuck am I stir crazy? Oh, it's because I needed to be doing this. And then I do it and I'm like at peace. You find that peace with yourself, and that's, I think that I mean, honestly, man, it's so much part of growing up and growing into who you really are. And that's kind of like, it's a really amazing process.
Very cool. Well, guys, we are almost at 2 hours, and I did not see that coming at all. Did we get through all the music? No. Will there be a part 2? We don't know. But you guys, super in depth.
Yeah, we got to touch here, so that's good.
I feel like in a weird way we got Native American History 101 more so than what is Wayne Garner. And
I mean, Wayne is, but
I tell people
Wayne is literally a major.
What's that?
Wait, what?
I mean, we've literally got a Native American major here. Wayne
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And let me say something. I don't speak for, because I like all Native people. I think need to have their own voice, and I just say what I've experienced. In different tribes, there's so many tribes out there that have different beliefs. And that's why it's like the whole like that pronoun noun thing. I don't know as far as like if pronouns were used in a certain way, but I mean they would be called something totally else, like different to for tribes or in languages, and so
They probably give you like a
Wait. Continue. What tribe do you originate from? Just to kind of
What tribe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Cherokee. Like I'm Cherokee. Yeah, I know everybody hears that. I'm Cherokee, but yeah, I'm Cherokee and Katua, which is the same thing. I mean, it's a different band, and that's where I come from. Like, as far as it going deeper, we had different sets and different clans and different. There's a lot of depth to it. I know that of course, like some of my family's from like the Overland Hills in Tennessee, and that's going into like the pre-settler days and stuff like that. It's getting way back there, and that takes a while to like really explain, because you got like there was different wars that were going on between the Cherokees, the Creeks, the Osage. I think it was Osage, but some of our tribes, like they didn't split, but they would move like some of our villages and like different people, like I said, I mean there was different sets, clans and stuff like that.
Got you.
So yeah, and so but yeah, that's it. Like I mean, I'm about 3/4 Cherokee, and then Irish, and I think a little bit of Italian. But
who isn't fucking Irish?
I got Irish in me too, even if it's just
it's
it's that little bit of Irish, but it's there.
A little bit, yeah. But,
all right, you guys. What was it? Go ahead.
It's been a great time. I just want to say I've got a new album coming out. March 18th will be the pre-order.
Very awesome.
And then there'll be a single every 2 weeks that drops until the official release on April 22nd. I got to throw that out there. Otherwise, like my distribution guy will be like, "What the fuck?"
What did you just do for 2 fucking hours, man?
Yeah, I didn't say a damn thing.
Oh my god. Very amazing episode. Thank you guys so much. Is there anything else you guys want to wrap up with before I bounce?
I think we covered everything. Like, I'm definitely looking forward to this project,
Yeah.
Like I didn't get to say this earlier, but like while we were like, just sampling your music, I was just like, this is that looking out the window music. Like while you're on like a train and whatnot, you're just looking at what everybody's doing, kind of that's the vibe I was getting.
Good.
But yeah. Much love.
And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing something that's very personal and touches close to your heart, and it's part of your identity first and foremost, because I mean, gosh, you got so vulnerable, and I just applaud you, because not only for us, but I think everyone learned something. I learned something new that I didn't even know about.
Because you hear so much about it from like content creators, but it's nice to actually hear somebody actually talk about it to you in like a personal space that's as intimate like this. Granted,
and I really I appreciate that, because it's one of those things where some of those questions, like I do get asked about like different Native things, and like I tell people, I'm like, I don't speak for all Native Americans. I speak from just my experience and like for what I've seen and been taught like through my tribe and things like that. And every tribe's different, and then in some way we aren't, if that makes sense. That there's something that connects us. But I think that's just all cultures in general, when you get to really learn about each other and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate being able to talk with no interruptions and no judgment, because I think that that's one of those things to where there's so many influencers out there that are trying to put that out. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
No,
put
I
words in your
Be,
mouth, or like,
be more palpable. They want you
Yeah.
to be palpable.
No,
No,
dude,
nah.
that is why I made my own platform, and I know I should be more into my acting career, and I know I should be doing this, but this is like my heart, dude. I want to hear people raw and in the real and unfiltered and comfortable, and like that's not happening everywhere, and not everyone's going to hear your side of a story that is your story, period. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
stay woke or not. Sorry, the website is down. Shopify's a bitch, but you can get us on Instagram. Thank you guys. Stay woke or not. Y'all know what time it is.
All right.